Go. All right, good morning. Oh, it looks a little, oh well. So let's start lying down with the block under the sacrum this morning. Ah, Setting that block under your legs. Down. Ah, maybe taking a couple of breaths. Enjoying this easeful moment as the weight of your body lets go. And then as you're ready, lifting up, and we'll slide the block up under the sacrum, under the back of the pelvis. And sliding the legs out to straight. Opening up the front of the hip joints. Be pushing with the hands on the block near your waist. You can keep pushing with the hands. Or you could release there and have the arms alongside. And gently starting to cooperate with the block, reaching a little more through the feet, pulling a little up through the abdominal muscles, stretching long over the block, opening up the front of the hip joints, but also opening up the whole front of the body. And feeling your breath, inhaling and exhaling. Just noticing how it feels to try to draw that breath all the way down and up to that lower belly on top of the block. And then letting go. Being very present with yourself, but just being present without judgments. Maybe noticing things, but just noticing in a passive way. And keeping most of your attention on that breath, on that length and opening over the block. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And then bending the knees, lifting up off that block, rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae. Maybe that felt so good, you're going to do it again. Give a little lift up and roll down. And we'll come up into a bridge pose, pressing those feet down into the floor, lifting up, maybe interlocking the fingers underneath. Getting those upper arms scooted a little more underneath, using the bend in the elbows to really press the upper arms down. You can even bend the elbows a lot and bring the fists there or the hands up onto the sacrum, kind of making a block out of your arms. Feeling the knees now reaching long for the opposite side of the room. The upper chest reaches a little toward the chin. So we're still stretching long, even with our bent legs, even with this effort we're having to make here. And then rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae and that wonderful landing on the floor, letting go. And we'll slide our legs out straight again. So stretch the arms up overhead any sort of way you want, a little indulgently, maybe a little squingy side to side, animal stretching, just doing what your body wants to do. Ah, and then we will make our way up to sitting. Here we are, sitting in Sukhasana with crossed legs. Oh, and if your blocks have all escaped, gathering them up again. Okay. Sitting in Sukhasana, using those arms alongside, lengthening up. Space coming between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. Whatever little shifting and squinching you want to do. And then finishing with your squinginess. And we'll reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips, pausing a moment to really feel that breath pouring out through the collarbones in front of the shoulders, out through the hands, and then we will breathe our arms up. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And let's do that twice more. Finishing with that, let's bring our hands onto our knees and we'll lift up with the upper chest and coming forward for our rippling and contract and rounding up. And we'll take a couple more ripples. And then coming back up on top of the sitting bones, letting the hands rest on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders, long through the top of the head. Maybe let your eyes close. Inhale and exhale. And now being present with yourself in this moment. And then let's change the cross of legs. And we will ripple in the other direction, rounding back, diving forward, and lifting up, or whatever your opposite direction is. Maybe you went this way first. And we'll finish up with this direction in the next few ripples. And arriving once again up on those sitting bones. Taking a breath long through the center line, pouring down off the tops of the shoulders, closing the eyes a moment. And let's take a slide straight out in front in Dandasana with those legs. And giving another lift up. So we're coming up and a little tilt of the pelvis forward, like you're trying to tilt pelvic bones, the hip bones up here forward. At the same time, pull the sitting bones back. And then letting that forward bend continue out through the spine any amount. You can bring the hands onto the legs or onto the floor alongside if you want. Inhaling and exhaling. And then coming up, and we will come up in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, walking the dog or anything else you want to do. And then here we are in the best downward facing dog of this moment, nothing moving but the breath. And let's lengthen forward to the plank, pulling the sides back long through the top of the head. And then lifting back up to downward facing dog. And we'll do that twice more. Of course, if you need to give the wrists a break in here at any point, go ahead. So we're doing about 3 forward to the planks. And then we're back in downward facing dog. And we'll bend the knees, coming down, sitting back in child's pose, nice long pull back, decompressing the wrists, stretching through the shoulders, and then letting go, melting into the floor. And sliding out into the Sphinx. So here we are, stretched over our block on the ceiling under the sacrum now. And working also that upper half of the body, wide across the collarbones. And that same long stretch down the front of the body like we have on the block. Only this time we get to have our head lifted. And maybe the elbows will lift a little, or a lot, or you can readjust the hands to get a little bit more of a straight arm cobra stretch. And then we will take ourselves back up to downward facing dog. Maybe a little ripple along the way. And then there we are, downward facing dog. And through the vinyasa, any version, coming forward to the plank. And some kind of lowering in chaturanga, maybe an upward facing dog, another swooping forward, back bending, and back up, and downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up, reaching long through the heel. Be patient with your hamstrings, which may still be a little stiff. So let's lower our right leg back down. Well, then we'll do that with the left. Stretching the left leg up. And reaching that left leg back. All right, and then here we go with the right leg lifting up. Hopefully a little more easily. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrants. And through to the lunge, swinging that right leg through or coming down and stepping forward into the long, low lunge. And we'll ease the left knee down onto the floor and keeping the left hand on the floor or on the block, we will twist to the right. And make it a sort of indulgent opening twist, leaning back a little, sinking into the front of the left thigh, sinking into the right hip joint. And then we'll gather ourselves into the center as we swing our right arm around, picking up the left, coming back into, or coming up into, we haven't been here yet, Anjayasana. And namaste down the center line. And then that's Andrasana, walking the right foot across, pulling the left knee under, coming to sit. Or however we get here. Let's take another twist to the right. Inhale and exhale, a little more vertical, a little more drawn tightly into the center and up out the top of the head. Lift a little higher through the top of the head, coming back to the center. And we'll take a little short twist to the left for a moment. And then we'll keep reaching around and coming up into the elephant rider. Untangling our legs, stepping back with the left leg. And here we are. Feet on the diagonal, bent knees, stretching out the inner thighs. And then making your feet nice and wide. So we're not going to go all the way down into the low side lunge unless you're feeling ambitious already. We're just going to slide back and forth. So let's slide to the right toward the front of the mat. Straighten out that left leg. And then sliding over to the left, straightening the right leg. And we'll go back and forth twice more. So in the slide, we're doing more like sliding across a line parallel to the floor. rather than trying to take a sit down toward the floor. And then we'll finish up with this and turn into our right lunge at the front of the mat to step forward. Into the concave back, folding over and breathing here. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Pressing the arms down long through the top of the head. And then we will interlock the fingers. Sometimes I think we should do something different, but I also think this interlocked fingers is so good that we should just do that. And then we'll lift the chest to lift the chin. Reaching forward and over. And then releasing the hands. Concave back, halfway up, folding over, jumping or stepping back through the vinyasa, any version. And we're all in downward facing dog again. Let's go around on the other side. So let's do the three-legged dog on the left and the right first before we head off to the lunges. So we'll lift our left leg up and just breathe here. This is the pose we're doing, three-legged dog. Stretch a little more through the back of the right leg. And then we'll bring the left leg down. And lifting the right leg up. And bringing the right leg down. All right, off we go, lifting the left leg up. Bend the knee dog at the high fire hydrants. And a big inhale and exhale through to the lunge. Landing in that long, low lunge for a moment or two. And then we'll ease that right knee down to the floor. And keeping the right hand on the floor, we'll twist to the left. So you can twist a little more indulgently here. We're sinking into the front of the right hip, sinking down into the left hip. Maybe a little feeling of back bendy and swirling around in our twists. All right, and we'll reach around with that left arm, coming up in Jayasana, getting a little more centered. And namaste. Matsyendrasana. Walking the left foot over, pulling that right knee under. And twisting once again to the left. A little more strong twist in the center. And coming back to the front, We'll twist to the right. And then keep reaching around, disentangling your legs into the elephant rider. And let's just do one slide to each side, sliding to the left and sliding to the right. Back into the center, and then we're going to come around into the temple pose. So coming up through the three-pointed star, straightening the legs, bringing the arms up overhead, spiraling those thigh bones even deeper into the hip joints, and then pulling the knees wide, pulling the elbows wide, keeping the head going up as if we're not going down at all. We're just going wider. And let's reverse that, coming up the center line through the three-pointed star. Big reach around with the arms and namaste in front. And we'll do once more round. So let's swoop the arms out to come up to the three-pointed star. And then bending the knees, bringing the hands down while the top of the head goes up even more. And we'll release the hands and we'll swoop our way up. Wait, that's the way we went, isn't it? I'm confused. Let's come up the center line. There we go. Up the center line. And reaching wide and around. Yeah, I think we only did that one once. Let's just do that once more, up the center line. All right, one or two more breaths here in the temple pose. And then we will tip forward, straightening the legs, maybe keeping them rotated out for a few breaths, noticing how that feels. And then turning the feet to parallel, Prasarita Padottanasana. And we'll turn to the left lunge at the front of the mat. And stepping forward into the concave back, halfway up, folding over. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And around to namaste. Samasthiti steadiness. Big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. We're going to step back with the left leg, so we're in the right lunge. Let's see if we can do the sling. I don't think we've done this for a while. So our first thing we do is we twist to the right toward our front leg. And so to go into the sling, you want to lead with your right foot. You lift the toes up, you pivot on the heels, turning the right toes to face the side of the mat, which will turn the left leg onto the outer edge of the foot. And then you let that left hip press down any amount. Maybe the right arm starts to reach back. Or you can do the same twist in with the knee on the ground that we did earlier if this is really not working. And we'll come up by pressing into the right foot, taking a little side bend up and around, turning back to the lunge, stepping forward. Deep breath, a little concave back. Let's try that sling on the other side. We'll step back with the right leg. All right, we're twisting to the left. So far, so good. So I think the key to getting this is to really make that turn in your left foot, picking the left toes up, swivel on the heel, and you have to really push with the outer edge of the foot to get it to go to 90 degrees. So my left foot's flat on the floor, it's not standing on the edge, but the right foot's now on its edge like a side plank. And then let that right outer hip go down in the amount. Maybe a little reach back with the left arm. And pressing into the left foot, press the hips up. Little side bend up and over, turns us back to the lunge, and we step forward. All right, so I think we're probably all back in Uttanasana, the forward bend. And we'll do a little concave back inhale and exhale to jump or step back, going through the vinyasa. And downward facing dog. And I'm taking 3 deep breaths here, downward facing dog. Or if you feel you need to come down into child's pose, doing that. All right, let's lift our right leg up. Then the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And a big inhale and exhale through to the lunge. And then we're going to do the twist into the side angle. So we kind of got more foot pivoting, but it's a little simpler. We just turn our left toes to the side. We put our right arm inside the right leg. We're sort of doing a twist to the left into the side angle, Parsvakonasana. So our legs are like the base of the warrior two pose there. And as we press a little back with that left arm, the tailbone presses forward toward the side of the mat, long through the top of the head. And then we'll reach through the left fingertips and pull ourselves up to warrior two. So we're pulling a little back with the left and then forward through that right inner knee to the center of the foot. Dancing warrior, right arm up and away. Checking in with your breath. And then we'll windmill back out to the side angle. Maybe this time bringing the left arm over the ear, reaching long. And coming down to the lunge and into, thank goodness, the pigeon. Walking the right foot across. Maybe using the block. And here we are, proud pigeon. lifting up and out and over, or something like that. And then coming forward. Now this is where we come out and over as we come forward into the sleeping pigeon. Ah. Knowing your breath. And then coming up, and let's sit off to the side into the half dragonfly, facing the long side of the mat with our right leg bent and our left leg straight. Ah, coming forward, and maybe a little squinginess here. And coming up. And let's take a twist to the right toward the front of the mat. So we're going to our Ardha Janu Shirsasana. And then left hand onto the left leg, reaching out and up and over. Couple more breaths here. And a big lift up. And let's extend that right leg out. Taking a short forward bend. And we'll bend our left leg in half dragonfly with the left leg bent. And then once again, we'll twist to the right, turning to face your right leg. And we'll reach with that left arm down the right leg. Feeling like you're trying to get your left shoulder lower than the right for the moment. And bringing the right hand to meet the left. And we'll Janu Shirsasana, no Parvrita, over the right leg. And coming up. And then we'll just bend our knees and gather them around to the front of the mat to come up into the forward bend. Inhale and exhale, Uttanasana. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Lift a little higher, and we'll dive back over. Concave back, folding over, and jumping or stepping back. Vinyasa, downward facing dog. Or maybe there's a child's pose in it somewhere for you. And wherever we are, 3 deep breaths. And then here we all are, downward facing dog. And let's lift our left leg up. Then the knee jog at the high fire hydrants. Big inhale and exhale through to the lunge. And we'll go into our side angle, Parsvakonasana, as a twist to the right, turning your right toes to 90 degrees. Left arm inside the left leg as we twist up to the right. So that right shoulder and arm are pressing back, tailbone sort of pressing forward, body forward, so toward the sides of the mat, and long through the top of the head. And then we'll reach back with that right arm to come up in the warrior two. So we reach back with the right, pull forward through that left inner thigh to the inner knee to the center of the foot, warrior two. Checking in with your breath. And dancing warrior, bringing the left arm up and away. Once more into the side angle. Big reach out, maybe this time bringing your right arm over the ear, reaching long. And then we'll come down to the left lunge and into the pigeon. Getting situated, and we'll take a few breaths in the proud pigeon. And then coming forward and over. Enjoying this little oasis of not needing to do anything but be here in your version of the pigeon at this moment. I'm lingering here a little bit longer. And coming up. And we will sit off onto our left hip, turning into the half dragonfly with the left leg bent, the right leg straight, and coming forward. A little squingy side to side, or whatever you want. And coming up. Let's twist to the left, toward the front of the mat, the bent leg. And then right hand on the right leg, reaching out and up and over, Parvrita Janu Shirsasana. One or two more deep breaths here. Insofar as you can have a deep breath wherever you are. And then come. And we'll extend that left leg out into Konasana, coming forward for a moment. And coming up, and we'll bend our right leg. And then once again, twisting to the left toward our straight leg. We'll reach with that right arm down the left leg, pressing into the left hand, still trying to feel twisting to the left. You're trying to get that right shoulder lower than the left shoulder. And then bringing the left hand to meet the right. And coming up. And then we'll just gather those legs in to come up into the forward bend at the front of the mat. All right, and let's come up to standing, big front body yawn. And around, namaste. Breathing here. Strong, steady steadiness. All right. Alright, here we go, back over. Big front body yawn up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. We're going to step back with our left leg. And this time we're going to twist ourselves up into the triangle pose. So turning that left foot to 90 degrees, straightening up the right leg, turning to face the side of your mat as you bring the left arm up and into the triangle. Maybe using the hand on the block. You can also pull yourself up a little extra high for a moment. I find I can sort of get my hip into a better place if I go up a little higher and then come over again. And here we are in the triangle. Trying to flatten into one long plane. And up into the warrior two, pulling with the left arm, pulling with the right inner knee into the warrior two. And we'll dancing warrior. And once more into the triangle, Trikonasana. And maybe reaching the left arm over the ear. And we'll come down to the lunge and let's try that sling again. So we twist to the right. You could just bring the knee down to the floor and do that twist instead. Or here we go. So start with pivoting on the right heel, really press the right toes all the way to the side of the mat. Then you let that left hip sink any amount. I'm keeping my left leg really straight, the plank leg there. And sort of the more you press the left hip down, the straighter you need to make that left leg. And then we'll press up into the right side, taking the side bend up and over, back to the lunge. Let's step back up to downward facing dog. Breathing here. And coming down, sitting back in child's pose. So we'll probably be end up going a little over an hour today. Hopefully you have time to get your other side in. All right, let's come up to downward facing dog. If you want to put in a brief vinyasa here, go ahead. And then we'll look between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, folding over. And let's step back with the right leg. And we'll twist up into our triangle on the left, straightening up the left leg as we twist up through the right arm. Maybe lifting up a little higher. That helps you get things more situated. And then reaching out again. All right, warrior two, bending the left knee, and we pull with the right arm and the left inner knee, and we're in the warrior two. And left arm comes up and over, dancing warrior. And into the triangle again. And maybe reaching that right arm long over the ear. And coming down to the left lunge. And let's swing or whatever comes out. We'll twist to the left. I think we can all manage this far. And then pivoting on the left heel, the left toes turning, tips the right leg onto its outer edge. And then maybe that right hip goes down. And the more the right hip goes down, the straighter the right leg gets. The more you press up through the left foot. And then we'll press ourselves up in sort of side bend to the left, bring ourselves around to the lunge, to step back up to downward facing dog. Breathing here. And we'll come down, sitting back in child's pose. And let's take a slide forward onto our stomach, into the Sphinx. Giving a pull with the elbows long and flat against the floor. And coming down, pulling the arms up and back into the cobra position. And let's do one cobra, however you want to do it. Maybe with a big push from the arms. And lengthening down. Then we'll do the three small ones, really working the upper back. Lifting up the hands, barely do anything, or maybe they even lift off the floor. And coming down twice more. I feel like we need one more. You don't have to do one more if you don't need one more. And then let's reach the arms out wide to the side. We'll press down with the hands into the floor. And then we'll lift up off the floor, lifting the legs as well if you can. And bending the knees. Maybe this is enough here. Maybe bringing the arms back and interlocking the fingers. And then I think we've guessed the next option, getting hold of the ankles and into a bow pose. Or maybe it's into a thigh stretch. And we'll all come down. Ah, You can bring the arms around to the front and let the forehead or chin rest on the hands. Inhale and exhale. Pouring off the sides of the back into the floor like an upside down Shavasana. And we will come around and back down onto the floor, onto our back. Ah. Drawing those knees in, be a little squingy side to side, or anything you want to do here. And then if you've got hold of the knees with the hands, press the knees away and let it kind of scoop you up a little and hang into that. Then you stretch across the upper back. And then letting go, let those legs go and slide out to straight. Giving the shoulder blades a little pull in and under, and letting go of all efforts. The eyes gently close. Our gaze turns inwards. As you breathe through the body, if you notice tension and resistance anywhere, letting that go. And letting go of even trying to let things go. Just being. Inhaling and exhaling. Resting into the wave of the breath. Taking another long, deep breath here. Stretch the arms up overhead, maybe a little circling of the wrists and ankles. Bending the knees. And And gently making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine, taking another moment sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.
Namaste.
Let's
Thank you, Anne.